Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Cost Cutters of Winona. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us today. And we're joined once again by Joe Getson, head volleyball coach at Winona State. Thanks for coming back here.
Well, thanks again.
All right, so let's talk about the last two matches that you had. We'll get the bad one out of the way first and talk about Upper Iowa. You were telling me that, a little disappointing that your team played the way that they did against Upper Iowa. Talk us through that match and tell us what happened.
Well, Upper Iowa is a tough place to go play. Small little gym, and the ceiling's low. That's really, I'm not trying to make excuses. Upper Iowa outplayed us, and on the stat sheet, they did everything better than us. We actually statistically didn't play bad. We just didn't match the level they were playing at, and I think we were more than capable of doing that, and kind of got in a little bit of a funk. All sports are mental, and we fell victim to that a little bit.
Well, we had talked before earlier in the season that maybe the target is starting to be on your back, and for Upper Iowa, they had a streak against, or you had a streak against them for a while, and now you've lost 3 straight against Upper Iowa. So, I mean, beating you is a big thing for some of these teams now, right?
Oh, sure. There's no doubt about that, and I think we had snuck ahead of them in the polls a little bit, and they felt slighted and so forth. But, frankly, they played well, and, we didn't bring our A game, and I think maybe we thought we could get by with a B game, and in this league you have to bring it.
Let's talk about some of maybe the individual performances in this game. Paige Christopher had a good weekend overall, but did everything she could against Upper Iowa.
From an offensive standpoint, she played really well. Her attacking is coming into her own. She's doing a great job. She struggled a little bit with blocking. We've got to make, she made some adjustments then on Saturday with that. Showed her some film. She made some really good adjustments, but from a defensive standpoint, she's still learning and has to get better, and I think she did that on Saturday.
Okay, and then it's kind of all your usual suspects again: Megan Flom, Madison Reisner, Rebecca Pagel, Sarah Suits.
Sure, I mean it's a good team effort. We're kind of into a groove with who we're playing right now. They did some good things. We just didn't do them. We had our chance to win the first set, and I don't think had we won the first set, I think that really changes the outcome of the game, but coulda, woulda, shoulda, who knows?
All right, then moving on, then you played Minnesota State Mankato after that, and it was really a good regrouping. What was the mood of the team after Upper Iowa heading into the Maverick game?
Well, I think they realized some things that we just talked about and what they need to do, and they turned that on, and I think hopefully that's a lesson learned, and we can put that in the past going forward. And they did. They responded really well. We had a different attitude about us. Mankato is a good team. They had beaten Upper Iowa at Upper Iowa. They were receiving votes, a strong team, and we came out and played really well. It was good to see. The third set, had our chances, didn't quite put them away, but then we came out in the fourth set and took care of business.
Well, you're kind of glossing over the third set. From the notes that I have, it was pretty exciting. 9 lead changes, 21 ties in that set. I know
it went back and forth. It went back and forth, and I felt like from a coaching perspective, we had our opportunities to put them away, and we didn't. Kind of glossing over that part, but the good news is after that set, the girls really just focused a little bit more and came out and really put it to them in the fourth set. So that was good to see.
So obviously, as a head coach, you have to be happy about dropping a set like that, kind of disappointing, and then rearing back to actually
exactly.
win the match.
I mean, if you are going to drop a set, that's the way to rebound. We had some unbelievable play. I thought Paige again played really well. She slowed down their best hitter with her blocking, made her change some shots. They had to move her to some different positions to get her kills. If Paige can continue to do that from a defensive standpoint, that's going to help out a lot. Sarah Suits, I've moved her around defensively a little bit. She did a great job for us as well.
Okay. So now you're holding steady at number 16 in the polls, and I know that top 25 is maybe not something that you really want to focus on. It's the region poll that'll be coming out fairly soon. But talk about having to look at those and figure.
Well, that's what they make their decision to who goes to the NCAA tournament, and our region is comprised of 3 conferences. Each of them get an automatic bid. We determine our automatic bid by who wins our conference tournament, so it's not the regular season. So you have a chance to get an automatic bid that way, and then that leaves 5 at-large bids. And in our league, you want to be in the top 4. That would leave 3 at-larges. That might give the MIAA 2. We know for sure they'll probably get 1 at-large. A lot depends. They can't have any upsets in their conference tournament as well. And then it's truly a matter of what the region committee, what they put their weight on. If they're giving the Northern Sun the credit we feel it deserves as far as the strength of it compared to the MIAA, and how strong they feel that one is. Top to bottom, I think it really shows that the Northern Sun is a stronger conference, but they don't always give us credit for that.
Now, if you look at the top 25 poll, you're 6th as far as NSIC teams that are in that poll. How do you feel you rank, and where do you expect to be when that first region poll comes out?
You know, if we're in the top 10, 8 to 10, somewhere in that range, I think I'd feel pretty good for an opening salvo. There's a lot of good volleyball left to be played, you know, and that takes us right through the conference tournament before they make that decision. So we have a chance to move up in that poll. There's some teams that are probably ahead of us in the top 25, but they've lost to some teams, and people don't always give that enough credit. The Wayne State loss to Bemidji is going to come back to haunt them. You can't lose to that lowest ranked team. Now in the top 25, coaches go, well, it's a tough league, we get it. It's too closely together in the region ranking for that to happen. So they'll take a hit for that, and maybe that gives us a chance to jump over someone like that.
All right, we're taping on Tuesday right now, which means that you'll be playing Concordia St. Paul later on in the day today. How important is this match coming up?
Well, you know, I mean, here's a top 5 team. We've beaten them once at our place. They haven't lost since they lost to us. You know, I think we match up really well with them. Statistically, we are ahead of them. You know, I've talked to the girls about it. It's the first time that we've put ourselves in a position where on paper we look better than they do. But it all comes down to a matter of execution. And we know they're going to be ready for us. They probably have a chip on their shoulder, but that's a great challenge for us. And we can go up there and play like we did on Saturday. I like the outcome. How
much do you want your team to lean on beating them earlier in the season as motivation for tonight?
I think they realize what that means, and we talked about it, that, you know what I mean, they're not going to play the same, they're probably going to play better, and it's how we respond to that, you know what I mean, and that's kind of the tale of 2 teams in Winona State, where if we'll respond to that and not let that bother us, we do really well, and that's what we did the first time when they made a little bit of a push. We came back and stormed back and you know, won that match. Now we've got to do the same thing tonight.
All right, let's take a break here on Warrior Report. When we come back, Cami Knutson will join us right after this.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. Getting the right look at the right price.
Perfect.
Is always in style. At Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-60.
When I grew up in Brooklyn, my parents lived the American dream and taught me what it means to be invested.
In high school, I managed a fast food restaurant. I saw the power of business and the importance of making your money work for you.
In life, it's not just how you invest, it's for whom you're investing.
We want to help every American and work every day to make it happen.
It's all about investing in your future, your American dream.
Fox Business, invested in you.
And welcome back to Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25, brought to you by Cost Cutters of Winona. Cami Knutson joins us. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Freshman at Winona State, so we'll go back to your high school days, not too long ago, and kind of figure out where you were before you came to Winona State. Davenport Central High School.
Yeah.
Had a very good volleyball career there. Tell us a little bit about that and maybe a couple of highlights from your high school career.
Okay, well, I played varsity all 4 years. I got first team all conference a few times, second team once. I think I got honorable mention freshman year, but yeah, I don't know. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it. Got to lead the team. Was captain all 4 years. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. It was good memories. Yeah.
All right. You also hold the school record for assists, digs, and aces, which is pretty incredible to have all of that. Your thoughts on that, and maybe when you broke some of those records?
Honestly, they didn't tell me. They told me like my last day at school. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, I guess. But yeah, so I like wasn't informed. But then when I found out, I was like, oh wow, that's awesome. But,
So you didn't get an on-court celebration or anything like that?
No, I had no idea. I don't even know what my numbers are. But like, yeah, they said it was good. So.
Well, I think it was 1,400 assists, and I think it was maybe 99 service aces, something like that. So very, very good. So congratulations on that, and I'm glad I could let you know that. You're also part of the 2018 Iowa All-Stars volleyball team. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that organization was?
Basically, so they take our conference and like pick all the best girls from every team to make one team, and then they do the same from Illinois, and then we like practice once together, and then we play Illinois, and it's just a fun time. Get a lot of people to come out, and Iowa won. We played really well, but yeah, it was fun.
All right. So from that, then, what was your decision then to come here to Winona State? What kind of tipped the scales in Winona State's favor?
Well, I visited campus, and I actually played for a club that a previous player had played for on Winona's team at the time, and I talked to her. She loved it so much and really just like influenced me to come here. And then when I saw campus, I was like, wow, like it's beautiful, it feels like it could be home. And then I met the team and they had a really good chemistry, and everything worked, I guess.
Okay, so what did you see in Cammie that made you want to bring her here to Winona State?
Well, obviously her skill set and the level of play that she brought, and you know, Cammie had come to camp as well in her junior year, and you know, showed us once again just how good she really was, and we were kind of surprised that she had an interest in us. So it was kind of a good fit for us, and I think Cammie is just learning, you know, the level of what the Northern Sun brings, and she's adapting to it, and we look forward to seeing what she can do for us.
All right, going off of that, what is that kind of transition from the high school game to the college game, especially at this level?
It's a major difference. Like high school, you thought you were tired every day and like we're working so hard, but compared to this, it's like a whole different world. It doesn't even feel like the same sport in a good way, but like, yeah, it's just like you're pushing yourself every day to be like a better player and better everyone else on the court, and you just work so much harder, and I enjoy it a lot more, honestly.
Do you remember the first time then that you went on the court this season, and maybe what some of your thoughts were as you were in game action?
Yeah, so coming in, I wasn't allowed to do preseason for health problems, but so everyone had already started playing, so I felt like I was missing out like major, and I was just so excited to even touch a ball and like get on the court. It was just so much fun. It's the first practice, it felt like I could really be a part of the team and just play the sport I love, and it was awesome.
All right, last question. As we said, a big match coming up tonight as we tape against Concordia St. Paul. What does the team need to do to be successful tonight?
I think it's a big thing on focus and energy. I feel like every time we lost, we didn't have the same energy as when we've won, and you can feel a difference. It's like that inner flow, and I think to win, we need to find that flow that everyone connects on and really thrives.
All right, well, very good. I hope you guys have success here tonight and the rest of the season as well.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for being here. Thank you for watching this part of the Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk men's cross country. That's coming up right after this.
Perfect.
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 Getting the right look at the right price.
Perfect.
Is always in style at Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-6030.
This is Bobby Flay.
I'm coming for you, Bobby.
They say he's never had to eat his words. But if he did, they'd be delicious. They say the word flavor was named after him. They say he can make an omelet without breaking an egg.
We were hoping for that.
They say you can beat Bobby Flay. What do they know? Beat Bobby Flay, Thursday night at 10 on Food Network.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Cost Cutters of Winona. We'll talk men's cross country here with Zach Kuhn. Thanks for joining us again here today. Since the last time that you were here, you've run 2 meets. There was the Lewis crossover, which was a huge meet. Tell us a little bit about that. There are 34 teams competing, and you're all running at the same time, right?
Yeah. The Lewis crossover this year was a wild one. I mean, and I talked about this last time, how big it was in terms of size of field and depth of field with competition. But when we got there, we did a course preview on Friday, and just in all my years involved in the sport, it was 12 years, I certainly didn't tell them this at the time, but the worst conditions I'd ever seen. Oh. And we're talking standing, water. There really boots would have been the shoe of choice if you really had one in certain parts. So just wild. We were running the course just completely soaked. I mean, even in preview, and then certainly when they got done with the race, I'm not exaggerating when I say head to toe with mud. And we had athletes with just mud all over their face, and that's just like, how did we get there when we just ran across it? But when you take 34 teams times the average team size of 7 to 15 athletes, you end up with 400 runners and 400 people all trying to get to the same point at the same time. With those types of conditions, it was a mud fest, and so that helped shape the race for sure. The other interesting part about Lewis too is it kind of starts in a practice field, and then you have probably the shortest but steepest hill I'd ever seen as part of a course, just straight up. Standing at the top of it from a coaching standpoint, they pretty much were crawling just to get to the top, even though the first 200 meters was basically a full-on sprint. So just a lot of fun, interesting. I mean, cross country is, no 2 courses are the same, and this was one that proved that. So their times were pretty much thrown out the window from the get-go, but it was definitely a great learning experience for everyone to be a part of something like that. Not the result we were hoping for, but they definitely went through it, and basically at least half of the national qualifying teams were in that race. Mm-hmm. And so just an awesome experience. I mean, you come to college to be a college athlete to compete at a high level, and they got to do that for sure. So
you kind of answered my next question that I was thinking of while you were describing that, but is there a typical kind of cross-country course? I mean, obviously a basketball court is the same, a football field is basically the same unless it's grass, and then there's some variations on that. But for cross-country, you could be running anywhere, really, right?
Yeah, and we have that same thing too in track, where every track's the same. Mm-hmm. And so part of our sport is like that too, but in cross-country, though, there is a typical thing. I mean, we run a lot of golf courses. Mm-hmm. Certainly golf courses can be a lot different, and I guess golf's another sport that's like that. But that's kind of what's typical. But I guess part of the fun of it too is you just never know what you're going to get. And that's part of why when you do an overnight trip like that, you go down, run it on Friday, see what it's going to be like, and then try and prepare for that Saturday. And sometimes we have the privilege of having been at a meet in a previous year. Mm-hmm. And you kind of know what to prepare for, and other times you don't.
All right, when you talk about the conditions that you faced in the Lewis crossover, were there any concerns for injury to any of the runners because of the conditions? Did anybody voice that?
Not so much with injury. I mean, it's the biggest thing that a tough course does is provides a mental challenge. Like I said, everyone's going to run significantly slower time-wise, but at the end of the day, you're still just trying to get from the start to the finish line faster than your competitors, and it's really always about place. And so mentally, I think that's what people have in their head, is that they want to run fast, because we are training to run fast, right? And then when you get to a meet like that, you're like, wow, I'm not going to be able to run fast at all out here. But you're still racing to try and run faster than others.
Right.
So I think that, from an injury standpoint, there was no real concerns there, but just making sure that at least my group was prepared to attack the areas of the course where your body's really just going to start slowing down. We really want to be aggressive and attack and not worry about wind, which it was windy, mud, people's shoes coming off, other athletes struggling. You don't want to be distracted by any of that. You want to really attack it.
All right, so that was kind of the last regular season race that you had, and then it was to the NSIC Championships. Tell us a little bit about that and how the team performed there.
Yeah, the conference meet was an exciting day. I was just so proud to see that what I'd been harping on all season long as far as being aggressive in the early stages of the race, both on the men's and women's side, I felt like for the first time all season we were able to execute that. And so on the women's side, we got the result we were looking for. We finished third. Our goal was to be top 3 all season. On the men's side, we were kind of in a mix of teams that were hoping to get anywhere from 5th to 10th, and we ended up 9th, certainly short of our goals. But a lot of times, you know, if you try your plan and you fail doing it, you can at least be happy with that you did what you're supposed to. And that's kind of what I've been preaching all season, is that we hadn't tried and failed, we'd failed to try. And so this was the first time where I felt like, you know, we tried and we came up short, but I know that, you know, that we have enough things that we can take from that heading into regionals to be confident with. And then certainly Josh, who we'll have on in a second, he tried and succeeded. He was right up in the front from the get-go, really competing at a high level, finished 9th, which was first team all-conference, and he was also the top underclassman in the whole race. So just exciting to see people go and mix it up. I mean, you want to see Winona State uniforms being competitive up in the front of races rather than just kind of feeling out the middle of the pack. So I was just happy, and it was a lot more enjoyable of a race to watch. I'm always kind of yelling and screaming anyway, but this was kind of like yelling and screaming because we're in it rather than yelling and screaming because we're not.
All right, probably the last question in this segment. The team in general, you have 10 runners, 3 seniors, the Warning brothers, and then Brandon Brooks are seniors. And then you kind of have a mix of other classes in there. In general, how did the team do? And then kind of what are you going to be looking for next year when recruiting comes up?
Yeah, recruiting, we're kind of in the thick of things now with signing day being a week from today. But I guess kind of what we're on the fence with, this is kind of a big thing that many people wouldn't know, I guess, but both of the twins are potentially going to get a 6-year eligibility. Okay. And so I guess that the cat's kind of out of the bag on that now. Yeah. But so that's going to completely change the dynamic of our team. It's 2 of our scoring runners that, you know, as far as what our compliance officer says, we have a good shot of that happening. And so now we're talking about having the exact same team we have now, with the potential of at least two good recruits that we have coming in next year. And so the excitement is, well, one, we're not done with this season yet. Right. We're excited for our regional meet this year, but the excitement is really heading towards the future too, where I felt like, you know, just in my first year here, we had to change a lot of things. This year we're a big step forward, but we just want to keep the ball rolling and get that momentum going towards next year, and I think we're going to do big things by next year.
All right, very good. We're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, Josh Darby will join us. That's right after this.
You seek the open road, the ride. Big cities, main streets, countrysides. In search of dives, you've got to try. Bold flavors, dipped and glazed and fried. And by your side, there sits the guy. The car, the hair, the shades, high fives, the brisket, corn chip pies that bring tears to your eyes. You seek the open road, the ride. We've got your order. We've got your guide. Diners, drive-ins, and dives. Friday night at 9 on Food Network.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. Getting the right look at the right price.
Perfect.
Is always in style. At Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-60.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Cost Cutters of Winona. Josh Sharpie is here. Thanks for joining us today. Now, I want to go off of what Coach Kuhn had said about the Lewis crossover and the conditions and that sort of thing and all the different runners. Can you tell us a little bit about that as an athlete, how that meet went?
Yeah, so like what Zach was saying earlier about how we like previewed it the day before, and it was obviously very wet and all that. And I was kind of thinking like we didn't really run on the course for the warm-up, so maybe it was dry again. It's kind of what we were hoping. It was cold out. I think it was like 35 or so. So obviously you don't want to run through cold water. But we got up the first hill like he was talking about, and it was just worse than the day before, if anything. And it was just, I've never ran anything like that before. So I wouldn't really say it was fun, but it's different, yeah.
All right, so how does that kind of change your mind as far as how you're going to run? I mean, do you have a certain way? Do you sprint some? Do you kind of do distance running? How do you attack a course?
Yeah, especially in the first like 100 or 200, you gotta get out pretty hard, especially in cross country. You don't want to get boxed in. I've dealt with that a little bit this year, especially at the Augie Twilight, and at Lewis, I also did kind of get boxed in, and then yeah, just settle in from there.
All right, we'll back up just a little bit and talk about your days in high school, Centennial High School. Tell us about your cross-country career in high school. Any memories from that?
I joined cross country in 7th grade. That's just because I always was good at the mile in elementary school. And I guess I kind of like interesting, I wasn't actually on varsity till my senior year, which is something, and we weren't even that good of a team. I just dealt with a lot of health problems, especially my junior year. And I finally figured them all out. And then my senior year, finally was able to come around and going to state was probably the best memory for me.
Okay, and then you also played tennis in high school. So maybe talk about that and how cross country became the sport that you wanted to pursue in college.
Yeah, I played tennis like my whole life growing up. I always loved it. And then my junior year, I wasn't sure if I was gonna come back my senior year because I really wanted to like go for running. And I told myself if I made it to state, I'd do track in the spring. And I made it to state. So I ended up quitting tennis and wanting to do running.
Okay, very good. So Josh is a sophomore, and he's led your team in every meet so far. What's special about him as an athlete, and why do you think he's had the success that he's had this year?
Yeah, it's a good question. Sometimes I forget to stop and think about why are people being successful, and I'm always focused on just making them more and more successful. But yeah, Josh certainly had an interesting high school career. Knowing where he's at now, people would never have guessed probably that that's where he came from just a short time ago. But he's passionate about the sport, and I always like to see that, and I always like to see it pay off too. Just wants to be good, knows the sport, knows, a student of the sport, which is another thing I always look for. And that just shows up when you're passionate about something. You want to do well, you want to do what it takes to be good. And then, certainly from a physical standpoint, he's got a great aerobic engine. He's not someone who biomechanically or foot speed wise you're impressed with, but fortunately for us, that's kind of like the 5 to 10%, and in cross country, the 90%, 95% being aerobic. He's got a great gift there, and we just keep pushing that, and getting better and better and better. And he's young, but just someone that's been able to just keep improving consistently due to just growing a base that he really didn't have from those years of tennis and whatnot.
All right, and what do you think has been the key to your success this year after your freshman year and leading the team in every race?
I think it's just been being consistent for sure. I've had no setbacks really. I haven't really missed a day in the past year, and just keep building and building on that. And I think that's been the key. Okay, and then how do you prepare now for regionals? Just keep doing the same thing that's been working all year, and trust in Zach's training and everything, and it's going to be a good one. And I think it should be, saving the best for last. All right, very good. Well, thank you for joining us.
Hopefully not last. Yeah, right, exactly. Hopefully you go on to the NCAAs. Thank you for joining us here today, and good luck in regionals.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us here on Warrior Report. We'll see you next week here on HBC TV 25.
Perfect.
Perfect. Perfect.
Getting the right look at the right price.
Perfect.
Is always in style at Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-6030.
You seek the open road, the ride, big cities, main streets, countrysides. In search of dives, you've got to try bold flavors, dipped and glazed and fried. And by your side, there sits the guy. The car, the hair, the shades, high fives, the brisket, corn chip pies that bring tears to your eyes. You seek the open road, the ride. We've got your order. We've got your guide. Diners, drive-ins, and dives. Friday night at 9 on Food Network.